No British footballer has ever turned fame into fortune quite like David Beckham.
Lynch getting himself into trouble. Beckham! It's a goal!
And I've taken that from the soccer field into the business side of my life.
The most recent set of accounts from DJRB Holdings, the parent company of David Beckham's empire, shows a revenues of $91.2 million and a profit of $36 million. $36 million. This is a man who hasn't kicked a ball professionally in more than a decade, yet he still makes more money per annum than most active footballers today. David Beckham's empire is massive. The brand deals, the ownership, the real estate, the production company. The man is a licensing machine and his name holds weight in football, in fashion, and even whiskey.
Cheers.
I'm Jordan and I'm on a mission to bring the business of sport to 1 million people. After just 18 months, we're at 100K, so we're on the way there. I've been a lifelong Man United fan, and David Beckham has been someone I've watched for years. By the end of this video, you're gonna see the entire empire, the business, the money behind it, and everything in between. The man has been making money for decades, so there's only one place to start: his crazy career earnings. Becks famously played for my beloved club, but things went up a level significantly when he moved to LA. Despite the MLS being a league full of many teams, or franchises, they all came together and universally agreed that Beckham playing in the MLS would be better for everyone. So they allowed his contract to have 3 unique and very lucrative conditions for him just to be there. The first condition was a rule that they created called the designated player rule. This allowed teams to pay certain players outside of the salary cap. Condition 2 was that they allowed Beckham to have a share of the merchandise and matchday revenue for LA Galaxy when he played. Condition 3 was that they gave Beckham the option to purchase an MLS franchise for $25 million at some point in the future. Yeah, we're gonna get back to that one later. On paper, you could argue that those 3 rules don't sound particularly interesting. But condition number 1, the designated player rule, changed the game significantly, not just for Beckham, but for people well into the future. The salary cap for all teams in the MLS at the time in 2007 was $2.1 million. At the time, Landon Donovan was the highest paid player at LA Galaxy, and he made $900,000. Becks came through, and he was a designated player. He got paid outside of the salary cap structure. He made $6.5 million every year for 5 years. Not bad. The kicker though was that he banked a share of the merchandise sales and the matchday revenue. What's funny is Lionel Messi plays for Inter Miami right now, and his contract is also unique in this nature, as he gets a share of the broadcast revenue from the entire league's Apple TV deal. It's almost like Becks passed the torch to Leo with a contract structure like this, where the key player gets a share of the revenues either from the team or from the league in this instance. Becks knows how lucrative it can be. When doing research for this video, I found a report that suggested Beckham earned $255 million across the 5 years of his playing time in LA, with the majority of that coming from his share of the merchandise and the matchday revenues. That made him the highest paid player in world football at that time in those years that he played in LA. It was an insane period of time for Beckham. He was already a star, but he was propelled into superstardom with the move to Los Angeles, which is generally what tends to happen when athletes go there. But don't forget, Becks played for Man United and then he played for Real Madrid. They're the 2 biggest clubs in the world. He also had stints in Paris and in Milan. He played for the biggest teams in key markets, and he did this strategically because commercially, the man is the best. When I was younger, I remember David Beckham working with Brill Cream. The company isn't as popular anymore, but I remember those adverts all over my TV when I was maybe 5 or 6 years old. It was a major ad campaign in the UK. Becks was only 22 at the time, but the deal was worth £4 million. In today's world, £4 million doesn't sound like that much, but this was 1997. It was a pretty big deal, and I remember it being a very, very young child at the time. The man had deals with Pepsi, Motorola, Gillette, Vodafone. In fact, speaking of Pepsi, I remember that insane advert where it was Man United players, Real Madrid players, Becks versus Iker Casillas. Everyone was dressed as cowboys. What an insane time that was. They don't quite make adverts quite like that anymore. But the big deal was Adidas. I'm a Nike guy through and through. I love Nike. All my athleisure wear are Nike. My running trainers are Nike. I love the brand. I like everything Nike stand for. But those Adidas Predators that Becks wore with the tongue and the strap that went underneath the boot, my word, those boots had me in a headlock. In my opinion, they are the best boots of all time. I wore them for years when I played football as a kid, and it was a big conflict for me because I just love Nike, but I had to wear those Predators. They were the best. They were incredible boots, but Becks' Adidas deal was also incredible. In 2003, rumors were swirling that Becks had signed the biggest endorsement deal in history for a footballer. No numbers were released at the time, but I did some digging and I found a report that suggested the deal was a lifetime deal worth $160 million. Again, you have to remember, this is in 2003. It's a long time ago. It's big money now, but it's even bigger back then. At the peak of his playing fame, Becks' image was everywhere. He fronted fashion ads for police sunglasses, and then of course there was the highly publicized Emporio Armani underwear deal. That deal in 2007, just before he moved to LA, was worth £20 million over 3 years. The numbers for all of these deals were wild. So, this is TLP. I had to dig deeper. Footwork Productions is a company that Becks uses for his image rights. It's probably the best way to see how lucrative those commercial deals were. This graph shows how much money Becks was chopping from all of his commercial deals during his playing time. This is the £10 million line. Becks was making a minimum of £10 million every year from endorsements, not including his playing salary. Legendary. But what's crazy is everything that I've described so far. Pepsi, Adidas, Man United wage, Real Madrid wage, LA Galaxy changing the rules, Emporio Armani, Brill Cream, Vodafone, Gillette, all of them. But whilst he was playing, everything goes up another level in his post-retirement career. But before we get to Beckham's post-retirement business empire, let's talk about building your financial future. As David Beckham is showing you, having strategic financial planning and making your money work for you is paramount. And that's where today's sponsor, Lightyear, comes in. No matter who you are, whether you're a seasoned investor, new to investing, or you're a small business owner like me, Lightyear is making managing your money extremely accessible with a very user-friendly app. You can open a stocks and shares ISA, and within that you have access to both British and American stocks. Stock trades are capped at a £1 execution fee, and you get commission-free ETFs. Fund manager fees still apply in some instances. For your spare cash, Lightyear's Vault feature allows you to earn interest backed by BlackRock's money market funds. I use the Vaults feature myself. I've got some rainy day money in there and it's collecting healthy interest right now. For freelancers and small business owners, Lightyear has a business investment product too. You can earn interest on your company reserves, and onboarding is easy and very simple. If you're ready to take control of your investments today, download the Lightyear app. Use my promo code THELONGPLAY, and once you've funded your account with more than £100, you will receive a free share up to $115 in value. There's 2 places to enter the discount code. Upon onboarding, you can enter it. If you skip past that, in settings, you can enter the discount code here. As a reminder, once funded, you will receive a free share up to $115 in value. Remember, your capital is at risk. The value of your investments can go down as well as up, and you may get back less than what you invested. Lightyear is making investing affordable and accessible. Click the link in my description to learn more. Now, back to David Beckham because the money is outrageous. Before we do that though, it's worth understanding the business empire and the company structure. Here we have Becks himself. He owns 100% of Footwork Productions. Then there's DJRB Holdings. This is the holding company or the parent company that houses 3 businesses underneath. DB Ventures, 7 Global, and Studio 99. DB Ventures is interesting. This houses most of Beckham's commercial and licensing deals post-retirement. Think of it like a post-retirement Footwork Productions, if you will. This is where the bulk of the revenue comes from, as you'll see very soon. 7 Global is an interesting company. It's where Becks handles most of his joint ventures, maybe product lines that he licenses or shares with other companies. Beckham branded products like his eyewear, which you'll also see in a second, is housed here. Finally, Studio 99 is a business for the content production, which houses things like the Netflix documentary, which you'll also see soon. Remember this structure because it's going to become pretty important for the rest of this video. And really, there's 3 main ways in which Becks makes money in the post-retirement career of his life. Licensing and commercial deals, content production, and business ownership, which are similarly aligned to the 3 businesses that I just shared with you. A significant development in Beckham's licensing business was in 2022. He sold a massive chunk of his whole empire to Authentic Brands Group, ABG, in a deal worth $200 million. ABG are a US-based brand management company. They own the likeness rights for people like Elvis Presley and Muhammad Ali, and they now partner with Becks to build his brand even further than it already is. Under ABG's stewardship, Becks has launched new licensed products, and the goal for them working together is for more sustained growth of the Beckham brand forever. I can see why ABG wanted a slice and were willing to pay big bucks to get some. Before the deal, Becks became a massive ambassador for Tudor watches. Tudor are a subsidiary of Rolex, and Becks was a global face of this brand. He also became an ambassador for Maserati. I remember seeing those adverts of Becks and the Masi. It's weird how I remember all this stuff. Beckham also has fragrances in a deal with Coty. When I researched this video, I tried to find numbers for the sales of the fragrances, and I saw a report that says that those fragrances in that deal make around $50 million annually. Becks then nets around $10 million himself as a 20% royalty share from the sale of his fragrances. It's insane, and there's a theme with most of these deals. Becks partners with a big company to launch a product. He then takes a slice of the revenue or the merchandise sales from the entire pie, and everyone wins. He's even got a deal with Safilo for his eyewear company called DB Eyewear. Seriously, I actually looked at some of the adverts for his eyewear on his Instagram. The production on some of these adverts are insane. Shout out Studio 99 and shout out Sophia Richie on production for these adverts. This is why ABG wanted a slice. Becks was doing all of these deals before, and they specialize in brand management, and they felt that they could take things to another level, so they invested big. And since then, it's worked. He's inked new deals with Stella Artois and Hugo Boss. There's deals with Nespresso and with Ninja. The impact was evident. And like I mentioned before, revenues at DB Ventures was $91 million on the last set of financial accounts. Not only did ABG give Beckham loads of money by buying a slice, they also help him create loads of cash every year. And what's mad is that Netflix documentary is going to make things even bigger for years to come. In 2020, the Beckham camp announced a Netflix docuseries project was coming. It took a few years to come out, but in October 2023, a 4-part Beckham documentary appeared on Netflix. The series was co-produced by Beckham's Studio 99 production company, and it was a hit. It was fantastic. It was in the top 10 of all Netflix shows in 90 countries upon release. I looked for ages to try and find how much Netflix paid Beckham and the company for the rights to this documentary, and I couldn't find any. Many reports suggested it was very lucrative for the family though. More importantly though, the Netflix documentary acted as a worldwide advert for the Beckham brand. On company accounts, Beckham credited the Netflix documentary for a whole host of opportunities. Shortly after the release, he saw an increase in social media followers by 16 million people, and a whole bunch of commercial opportunities came as well. What an incredible investment that was. Studio 99 also produces other content. They produced a documentary about Ronnie O'Sullivan, and a whole bunch of the adverts that you see for many of the Beckham products are created by Studio 99. Interestingly, despite revenues being £15 million on the Studio 99 accounts, the company actually made a loss, which suggests the production is actually quite expensive. But I feel like the revenues for Studio 99 will increase in the future, and I feel like the ROI from that company is felt in other areas. If you've made it this far, then thank you. We're now in the business ownership portion of the 3 ways in which David Beckham makes money, and you're probably here for the thing that you know him for most right now. Not yet. In 2014, Becks co-founded Hague Club Whiskey. He did this alongside liquor giant Diageo, and again, incredible investment for the golden boy himself. I mean, look at it. This has Becks written all over it. Smooth bottle, smooth to drink, and the adverts were also fire. It's good stuff. Again, this is a partnership where the Becks brand provide all the likeness and Diageo do the product distribution around the world. And I tried to find Hague Club performance numbers. An article told me that it makes around $20 million a year in revenue. And again, Becks takes a slice, makes around $5 million from his royalty. Another lucrative revenue stream. However, I did see a press release in 2023 which says the Beckham Hague Club partnership is coming to an end because Becks plans on launching his own new drinks venture in the future. To my knowledge, that hasn't happened yet, but it wouldn't surprise me with the help of ABG and Beckham's increased superstardom that we'll see a Beckham venture for alcohol very, very soon. And if he can leverage that liquor and use the marketing prowess of Inter Miami to his advantage, then he's truly cracked the game. Condition number 3 of his lucrative LA Galaxy contract was the ability to purchase an MLS franchise for $25 million. You might be thinking, that doesn't sound like a good deal. Like, he has to pay $25 million to start a football team. Like, that's not good. But he exercised that option, and now Inter Miami is the jewel in his crown. Firstly, to put the $25 million into perspective, whenever you add a team to a league, that's any league around the world, especially an American sports league, you have to pay to be there. It's usually called an expansion fee. At the same time that Inter Miami joined the MLS, Nashville joined the MLS too. The expansion fee for Nashville was $150 million. Remember, Becks paid $25 million. The most recent team to be added to the MLS is San Diego. The expansion team for San Diego was $500 million. Becks got a steal with Inter Miami. And quite frankly, the story of Inter Miami so far has been a dream. Getting the team off the ground was bumpy, but everything since then has been up and to the right. The club began in 2020 and Becks serves as the public face and the president. His precise equity isn't disclosed, but reports have Beckham in the 10 to 20% range in ownership of the franchise. Forbes now ranks Inter Miami as the second most valuable MLS franchise. Remember, they've only been going for 5 years. The revenue for the franchise is already at over $125 million, which is insane because the stadium they play in is under 30,000 seats in capacity. And as I mentioned just a few moments ago, they've only been going for not that long. Forbes estimate the value of Inter Miami at over $1 billion. If Becks earns 20%, you can do the math. More than that though, the team allows Becks to position himself as an owner in the global sports arena and gives him a legacy well beyond his playing days. It's in Miami. There's no state taxes in Florida. The team is also massively connected to the Latin community who come out to the games in their droves. And also, the celebrities are there all the time. It's perfect. And as a fan, I enjoy seeing Beckham in his Empire era. If you've made it this far, then thank you. You are a true nerd like me. We've got a lot more from Becks coming in a second, but I have to shout out you all. We made it to 100K. We did it in 18 months. I can't believe I'm saying that, but we are here on the journey to 1 million. If you've ever liked, if you've ever shared, I really appreciate you all. The comments I get on a daily basis are so humbling. Thank you so much. I find it fascinating how many of you who watch these videos aren't subscribed. So if you can do one thing for me, hit the subscribe button right now. It just allows me to bring more stuff to you and helps us on our mission. Don't forget to follow on Twitter and sign up to the newsletter too. Now, there's more, and this is the stuff I really like. Becks took a minority stake in the Guild esports team in 2020. Yeah, we're still in the business ownership portion of Beckham's empire. Guild plays games like FIFA, Fortnite, and Rocket League, and they went public on the London Stock Exchange in 2020. One of the first esports teams to IPO. The float made around £20 million for Guild's expansion, and I think Beckham's cachet attracted investors for sure. Esports teams are not hugely profitable, but Becks still owns a slice to this day. Becks also took a stake in a company called Lunaz. Lunaz is an interesting company. They take classic cars and refurbish them to run on electric. It's an interesting idea. The company had some troubles and ceased operations in 2024, but they started up again, and Becks still reportedly owns 10% stake in the business. Wellness is Beckham's latest venture. IM8 is owned by a company called Prenetics, which is a firm Becks has partnered with. Together, they launched IM8, which is a supplements brand, and they recently struck a deal with world #1 tennis player Aryna Sabalenka. You might be seeing a lot of those adverts on your Instagram, like I have been doing a lot lately. It took me a long time to research this video. There's just so much in here. But one thing that really struck me was that Becks is a truly global star. If you watch the Netflix documentary, it was a reminder of how much of a star he was here in the UK back when he played for Manchester United. He was everywhere. It helped that he married a Spice Girl too, but together they were a force in this country. By moving to LA, he clocked America. Now he's on the East Coast, into Miami, and as I mentioned before, he's tapping into the Latin community too. Asia is another frontier that Beckham has completely conquered. During his Man United and Real Madrid playing days, he will be mobbed by thousands of people as he touched down in China and other countries in the surrounding areas. He has a long-running endorsement deal with AIA Group over there, which has served him very well financially and of course for brand image in the country. How many deals have I reeled off in this video? And of course, we can't forget the Middle East. Beckham agreed to become an ambassador for Qatar ahead of the Qatar 2022 World Cup. It was a controversial deal, this one, but reportedly paid him £150 million over 10 years. The arrangement drew criticism in Western media, citing Qatar's bad human rights record, especially in the run-up to the World Cup. But Becks stood tall and doubled down. He's since been at F1 races in the Middle East and continues to do work with the Qataris. On this point, don't forget the Saudi series. I am producing a series of content breaking down Saudi Arabia's takeover of all sport. It's one episode per sport, and there's a massive episode on football in there. It's some of the best work I've ever done. Click the link in the description to get early access to the Saudi series, and if you sign up to the Saudi series, you also get access to the newsletter. As you can imagine, being a global star comes with houses and real estate in all parts of the world. Beckham's primary residence is a massive mansion in Holland Park. Holland Park is in West London. He purchased the crib in 2013 for £31.5 million. In 2016, David and Victoria bought a countryside retreat in the Cotswolds. This was featured heavily in the Netflix documentary, if you remember. That crib was £6 million. In 2020, they bought a penthouse in Miami, of course. It was in a very luxurious, futuristic building architected by Zaha Hadid that reportedly cost $24 million. However, the Beckhams didn't stop at a condo. They also reportedly spent $70 million on a sprawling waterfront estate in Miami too. Let's not forget, Becks played in LA. He bought a Beverly Hills mansion for $18 million. They later sold that for more than $30 million when he stopped playing there. He also has cribs in Dubai and in France, and in several other countries around the world too. Becks is the king of reinvention. He's been a trendsetter from the very beginning, during his playing days, in his post-retirement career too. If you've been a follower of my channel for some time, I've done a video on Inter Miami and the story of Inter Miami before. In that video, I said this. I mentioned before, I've been a Man United fan my entire life. My favorite ever Beckham goal was against Tottenham. In fact, here it is.
Giggs. Solskjaer back for Giggs, well he lets it run for Beckham! Oh!
Shaped to go far post. Pinged it near post. Started doing this as a celebration.
Beautiful goal!
That was my favorite era of David Beckham as a player. But this is my favorite era of David Beckham now. I mean every word of that. I feel like I've watched Beckham from when he first started playing for my beloved club to where he is today, and I'm inspired by the guy. No one's done it bigger, and players of today are following the blueprint that Beckham laid out on commercial success, on the pitch success, and post-retirement success too. If you want to see that video of the story of Inter Miami, click right here. But if you want to see someone else who's also doing it big, not in the football empire, but also from the UK, click here to see Anthony Joshua and his journey so far. I'm Jordan. We're at 100K. Thank you for watching.